the slide with the code. Huh? So just tell me and I present it. If you have it, either no problem, you can show it.
We're live.
We're live.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the International Leader site. First of all, I would like to share my sincere thanks to all of you, especially those who are in Asia Pacific region, in many countries, because for taking the time to join this section when it's already very late at night. Like my country from Vietnam now is around 1 a.m. in the morning, but we are still here and we are still together to discuss a very interesting topic. And before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Huy from Pathfinder Scout Vietnam. I'm currently the Vice Chairperson of APR Youth Engagement Committee and a member of the WORZM Volunteer Support Team. This is my great honor to be here with you today. And this is my great honor for my country too, because after 3 years, after rejoining the World Scout movement, we can work together with everyone, we can learn from everyone. And today, we will have the opportunity to discuss a very interesting topic that many leaders care about, especially in the current context of the VUCA world, a powerful digital transformation era with the big change in the way we do our movement today. This is the leader becoming the ultimate role model. Before we start, let's meet our two panelists. The first one is one of our World Scout Committee member who will bring the perspective not only from the Scout leader, but also an educational psychologist from Ethiopia, Mr. Wayne Adrian Davis. Please welcome Mr. Davis to the stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Huey. I really appreciate you. It's great to be here and happy Jora Jorai.
Yes, thank you so much. And the second panelist, balanced with the perspective from an expert, is the view from a very potential young leader, representing the voice of today's young generation on this topic, Ms. Reese Medina from Panelists, Youth Advisor to the World Scout Committee. Welcome, Reese, to the stage.
Thanks, Huey, for that warm welcome. And hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I hope you have been enjoying this weekend.
Yes, thank you, Reese, and thank you, Dr. Davis, for very kind introduction. Everyone, please give our panelists your virtual hug or reaction to welcome them to our section today. And we cannot see you, but we can see your reaction, your heart, your smile, your thumbs up. Everything is rising a lot. Thank you so much. And you can use our chat box, or you can use the Q&A box to raise your question, to share your opinion, or to give the comments to anything that we discuss. Yes, let's go straight to the topic with the very first questions. So what is adult leader? What is their role and how is influence in a young people? I would like to invite Dr. Davis to share your perspective.
Thank you so much. This question is very broad. As we said earlier when we were talking, an adult leader is everything. Our movement, it is a youth movement. It's supported by adults. So the adult is the support system, the infrastructure, the mechanism that we have in our movement. When our founder, Lord BP, started this movement, he was well in his 50s. So it is not really a youth movement by youth only. It is a youth movement in partnership with adults. So basically, once a person finishes the youth program within our movement, then they become a supporter of that movement through volunteerism. And we volunteer, of course, from the grassroots level, the group leadership, all the way to where Risa and I are serving right now in the World Committee and World different structures like you as a volunteer consultants. And we are really the backbones of the success of this movement as adults, because our youth by themselves cannot do it, and we adults cannot make this movement go without the youth. So I think an adult leader, in my understanding, is a partner in this movement, a partner in creating a better future, a partner in creating that better world we want to envision for our young people. We are the partners of that active citizenship that we have.
Yes, I'm very curious about your experience as an adult leader. Can you share about your story? How can you become a scout leader, and how was it going?
I think if I start talking about me, it's going to be probably taking us 2 hours instead of just 45 minutes. So I'm going to real quick. For me, there have been, until today, actually, there are adult leaders that I look up, I look up to. There are people that have motivated me. Joining the movement in Ethiopia about 20 something years ago as a youth adult leader, I started from grassroots. I had, groups. I was leading in groups. Then from there, I started leading and working in district level, then in the city, which is the capital city. Then from there, I moved into the national. I served as international. Then, of course, to the region and the Africa region, I was a member and the chairperson of the Africa region. And after that, I reached here. And through each of these steps, I had multitudes of people that were really motivating me and inspiring me. And today, as I speak to you here, there are not just one or two, there are thousands of people that I really look up to and follow. Of course, the start of the whole foundation is BP, his teachings, his words, his life, and his example that he has set for us. That is, for me, that adult leader that motivates me on an everyday basis. But other than that, you have so many of them. I cannot just start, calling one, because I'm afraid that I will forget somebody, then I'll be beating myself later on. But there are so many leaders that I look up to. So an adult leader to me is not just somebody who's guiding the youth, but is somebody who's motivating adults, youth, and everybody within that movement. And of course, that image for our movement as well in the outside world.
Wow, what a very short but very inspirational story from Dr. Davis. Yes, and I saw many wow surprise reaction when you shared that you have go to many different positions as an adult leader, from you were very young and now to the World Scout community member. So how about Reese? What is your experience when you are very young generation but becoming the adult leaders, and how do you think the action and or behavior of the adult leader inside or outside scouting are perceived?
Yeah, thanks, Huey. I'd have to agree with Dr. Davis and say it's really about a partnership and a team effort. Scouting is all about inspiring and empowering our young people, but we need the support of adults to be able to do that. As a young individual that had the opportunity to be an adult leader at a young age, I was inspired by the other adult leaders that were around me. And I also can't name any names because I don't want to leave anyone out. But the fact is that our roles as leaders are so influential. And I believe that that influence is the same in regards to inside and outside of scouting, because people who see us, they see us surrounded by young people. And when we look at the internal perspective, we see that scouts are viewed as, well, scouts view leaders as mentors and role models. People who are contributing to their learning and giving them the opportunity to create fun memories. I can still clearly recall attending a summer camp, and although I wasn't a scout at the time, I remember looking up to my camp counselor and thinking, wow, I want to be like that when I grow up. And when I joined scouting, I had the chance to build relationships with the adult leaders around me. And like I mentioned earlier, they inspired me to become a leader myself. And why is this? Because influential adult leaders, they shine with discipline and confidence. And they care about young people. They actively listen to them. They give them the chance to grow into leaders themselves while they're overcoming challenges that they encounter along the way. And that's something that young people value. As a leader, today, like, I get to see life through a different lens, and I've experienced the external perspective as well. So I've had quite a bit of people come up to me and say, "Oh, is scouting your job?" And then they're so surprised when they hear that I'm a volunteer. But this has made me realize that our adult leader identities are closely linked with our lives in general. So much of what we do and say is looked at and critiqued by the public because our actions and our behaviors are viewed as a reflection of scouting. This is why it's important for us to set an example within our communities, to be the kind of people that we need, the people who are seeking to make this world a better place. Once others see that positive impact that we're having because of scouting, and because of the contribution that we are providing as leaders, you will see doors opened. There are going to be other organizations wanting to do partnerships and collaborations with different social projects, because they're realizing that through your actions as a leader, we have similar values and goals in our movements. And I cannot forget about the parents, because parents, they put so much trust into leaders to ensure that their children are safe and taken care of. This is a huge responsibility and something I'm sure none of us take lightly. And it's a realization that even though we aren't a part of younger people's lives 24/7, we do leave a mark in their lives. Because just for those few couple of hours or the weekend or those weeks that we spend with them, they are with us and they will remember us as being the adult leaders there who made them feel comfortable and allowed them to grow in a safe environment.
Yes, I feel so touched and so inspired with, and also empathy with your story. A lot of my friends, my teachers, and my community ask me, like the question like you, oh, you are professional. Do you get paid by Scout?
Exactly, right?
Yeah, get paid. No, I'm volunteer. I'm taking it because I love scouting and I love the younger generation. I want to spend my life, my time for them, and I have my ideal role model at the adult leaders, my scoutmaster, my previous scoutmaster. They take care of me, they teach me, they become like an idol of me. So I looking at them and I want to become like that. So I try my best, I push myself to join more, and when I get older, I feel that I have the responsibility to learn more, to know more, to get more, and to become a role model, a very good role model for the younger generation. Yes, so I feel so touched and empathy with your story. So I want to ask Dr. Davis. So
before you go to
that,
the next question,
yeah.
I just wanted to add on what you guys are saying. It is very powerful. Reese, your points are really beautiful. And as somebody who's been in this service as a volunteer for a very long time, decades long, there is a perception that we have three things that we feel have to be there. The first one is that the scouting is like a superhero. It's like a gift. You have a Black Panther, Iron Man, Superman, and you have a scout man or a scout woman who are expected to be able to do everything. The second thing is people ask us, when do you find the time? That's the
Yes.
thing. Like, wait, what's your job? Oh, I work in this and this, or I'm, a teacher in this place, or a professor in that place, or a businessman. Whatever you are, people say, then how do you find for all that scouting thing? Then the third one is, we are harsh on ourselves. Scouts generally, scout leaders, we are very hard on ourselves. We forget that we are human. You understand? We have limitation, and that's why our movement right now has taken the big stride in terms of, safe from harms, in terms of the adult policies that we have worldwide in every NSO, because scout leaders are human beings. We have the strength and the weakness of every other human being. And that's why we need to create systems and procedures and processes that protect our young people. So I think these three things are very important to mention. I'm so sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yes. So it make the story more beautiful and inspire everyone that, and we cannot agree more with that. And yeah, everyone asks, where's your time? Yeah, how can you handle everything with your personal life, professional life, and now scouting life? And scouting not only for the adult leader, but also the member, the professional, the staff, with many things. Yeah, and with that view, so do you agree that being a scout leader today is more challenging than ever before? So what do you think is the main challenge of the scout leader today, and how has this role changed over the time? Dr. Davis?
Yes, is it challenging? I don't know if it is more challenging than ever, but there are, challenges and opportunities probably on equal level. Challenge is being relevant. The way we acted when I was young, the way things were, the way the world viewed, the way young people viewed the world was completely different from today. So where we are we relevant? And keeping that relevance as any adult leader, not just the movement, not just NSOs, national scouting organizations, but individual scouts. Are we relevant? Are our values still relevant to our communities? And showing that relevance is very key. But I think it is very opportune time for us to be scout leaders and scouts today, because we have access. Look at the biggest challenge the world had the past two years with the COVID, with the pandemic. And when the world froze and everything was at a standstill, scouts continued. We had scouting from home, scouting from kitchens and living rooms. We had scoutings in small communities, and in countries like, in Africa, in Kenya, in Ghana, in Ethiopia, in South Africa, young people went out and served their communities on how to be safe from the pandemic. So I remember a Canadian scout that brought that mask holder for people who are having problems because they couldn't. It was a scout that came up with this. Now it's a big business on Amazon and on stores. You'll find those things. But when he started it, he gave it for free. He was 3D printing it and giving it for free. So the movement has a lot of opportunities to serve communities. So the need is there. The challenge is also there. But there are other things that I would find as challenging for us. It is finding the time, because our life is like a rat race. We're all running here and there, and most adults say, "Oh, I don't have time. I don't have the time to, give away a weekend or give away a day or a night." So that is the challenge, and that's where. But people need to understand. We all need to understand that it is a partnership, and without enough adult leaders, we cannot have enough scouts. We cannot serve the entire world without enough leadership supporting us.
Yes, that's wonderful. And your story remind me about the new way that we do scouting currently in the Purple Team. That we create a new team we call the volunteer support team, that we care about the wellness, the wellness and experience of other volunteers. This is very new one, yes, because the adult leader is still the human, and we not only have the scout life, but also we have a lot of things to handle in the daily life. So we need to take care to each other. We need to care their experience. They care about their wellness, their well-being when they doing the leader and when they doing the volunteer job. So yes, I agree with you. And in the Q&A box, they have the questions from Andrew Jones. Adult leaders are the superhuman. He agreed. They serve beyond the cone of their volunteer duty. And how can we, as adult leader, make our participation known to the world? So what do you think?
Riz, you want to go first? Then I'll follow.
Sure. I think as adult leaders, our contribution to the world has a lot to do with the young people lives that we touch, and how that influence transcends into who they become in the future. So as adult leaders, we have knowledge, we have skills, we have insights, and this is something very valuable to young individuals. Perhaps you can think back when you were younger and you know how you had those ups and downs in life, and you might have been feeling a little uncertain as to the direction that you wanted to take. And this hasn't really changed for young people around the world. They are still trying to figure things out as well. And so as leaders, you have the power to help young people navigate those good times, those bad times that life throws at them. And by doing this, you're showing them that they are important and they're valuable to society, and that somebody cares for them and cares about their success. And this is something that I can tell you as a young person and then growing up within the movement, it really helps you. It helps your confidence as well. And so as adult leaders, you can also be motivators to encourage and boost the confidence level of young people and to give them a little nudge so that they can step outside their comfort zone, because we can see when young people aren't living up to their full potential. And so we can help them and give them the opportunities so that they can get there. We can talk to them, we can find out what they might need, what type of support they're lacking, and help provide that for them. We as adult leaders should be the person that they can turn to when they have questions or they need guidance. And we should also be like their biggest cheerleaders. And another way that leaders can influence a young person's life is through empowerment. So giving young people the chance to test and grow their knowledge and skills, providing them opportunities where they can lead themselves and when they can contribute to decision making. But adult leaders should also be there to support them along the way, because it's really important for us to remember that one day those young people are going to take up the challenge of leading future generations. So your contributions today are going to have lasting effects for years to come. Also, you should know that scouts, they come back to their leaders quite often. I've had scouts come and ask me for recommendation letters, or if they're going through something in life, they'll ask for a little advice. They might even ask for some help on projects that they're working towards. And this shows us that our job isn't done when they leave and you're not maybe their leader directly anymore. You're always going to still have a leadership role in their life. So your commitment through the year, it inspires young people, and it should inspire them to say, wow, I want to be there for someone just like my leader was there for me.
Wow, that's really powerful.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Huey, if I may, I think Andrew John's question is really powerful. Like, how do we make our known? And everything Rhys said is powerful in terms of our role and that light that we carry as leaders and sharing that light. And as they say, you don't turn your lamp and put it under a bushel. You put it up so that everybody sees it. And I really support agree with what Rhys is saying. In addition to that, I think telling our stories or building our scouting profile, it is not just your NSO's responsibility or the world level responsibility, but each of us in our circles, in our world, like in today's world, most of us have Facebooks and Instagrams and TikToks and all those things. We can talk about, what we do, how we are serving, how we are helping change the world for better through those channels. At global level, recently I had the blessing of representing scouting at the United Nations General Assembly's summit to transform education. It was called Transforming Education Summit. And on that, they were talking about how it is important to educate young people, participatory education, empowering young people. And this is something scouting did for 100 years plus. It is something we've done, like learning by doing. talking about it today, and we have done it for 100 plus years. So all these things that we do, we can definitely bring them out into the light and show the world that this is how we are transforming. Because in the past, people used to think of scouting as a fun game about camping, a fun game about singing and cleaning and helping old ladies cross. Today, we are everywhere. We are the peacemakers, we are the educators, we are the supporters of non-formal education, we are the peacemakers. So let us talk more about what we do as adult leaders, as scouts, and that's how we can make the world see who we are and what we do. And of course, as Liam asked, yes, we should be part of the community because the community loves us for what we do. So your service is rewarded by your goodness and your interactions with your community. So I really support that we are part of that community.
Yes, really great. And along with that view, so today in the Chochachochi Live, our two youth representatives already have their talks, and they all agree they want to express more how scouting can contribute to the younger generation by standing, by sharing their voice on other other organizations like the bigger channels like the UN, like the Gen Formal Education events. And along with that, another side is currently many young people don't want to become a leader, become a scout leader because they have another choice. They can become professional. They want to have to do more to live with their life. And nowadays, the youth engagement is important and the principal topic from Scouting. So which advice do you can give to the adult leaders working in the sections to encourage them develop this youth engagement? Maybe Reese, what do you think?
Sure, thanks, Hui. That's a really important question. And I think a huge part of that is the relationships that you build with the young people and the opportunities that you provide with them in the programs. Because at the section level, you have your Cub Scouts, you have your Scouts, your Adventures and your Rovers, and there are different age levels, different groups. So they have different needs, and so we can support them differently, but we need to also be able to understand what is it that they need. So it's building this trusting relationship with one another and having open communication with each other that I find is very valuable to that contribution. And I don't have much experience because I've only been doing it for a few years. So I'm sure Dr. Davis has some more insight on that.
No, I think you've really, and it is about how we bring that experience, that positive experience. There is that saying, people forget what you've done for them. People forget what you have done to them, but people will never forget how you've made them feel. Yeah. I think our emotional attachment as the human beings that we are, it is very important to create that lasting impression in young people. And we need, especially we adult leaders and NSO leadership, we need to work on making the movement relevant to young people. It is a great program when you are a Cub or a Scout or a Venturer, Explorer, but once you pass 26, what happens? Do we still have something relevant that makes you want to stay in the program? Or you feel like, okay, I grew up through scouting, now it's time for me to make life for myself. So I think it is very important to create that programs that would encourage people to be part of the movement and of course continue to benefit. For me, so many life skills I have learned in life, I didn't get them from university or from being a successful adult here or there. I got them from scouting. I owe it to scouting, from the way I interact with human beings, with people, to the way I manage myself, from morning, waking up, you're doing your meditation, showers, whatever. All these are things that was built in me from scouting. So all these things that we learn, before we start giving it, there is usually that gap. And that's when we lose so many young people. They finish their rover section of our movement, then they go to universities, then it takes them another 10 years to come back and serve again. But I think we need to create a link between you growing through the movement and transforming into giver, but at the same time benefiting. Because if I feel strong, if I feel good about the movement, then I will definitely be part of the movement. So I think it's creating that positive interactions and positive feelings amongst young people that we need.
Yes, great. And along with your answer, so another questions in the Q&A box is how can we make people feel safe and comfortable while breaking, I think that's the barriers between the different generation, the different perspective, the different in the way of we do scouting, because maybe the younger adult leaders, they really creative, they want to change, they learn fast, they adapt fast with the in the very like the modern content and educational content, but because we have the 100 years old more movement, yes, with a lot of historical generation and different the way we do scouting. So how can we create a safe and comfortable zone environment for young people to become adult leaders and break the barriers?
Yeah, if I may take this one, I would say three things, just like our salute, three things. The first one is intergenerational dialogue. We need to continue. We've started doing that for a long time now, but we need to, it's not a one-time off. It is an everyday process that we need to have intergenerational dialogue. And this is not just between scouts and leaders or scouts and adults, but it is through leaders and leaders, the mentorship program. In the World Scout Committee, we have what we call the buddy system, where we support one another as friends, as colleagues, and as co-volunteers. So I think the first one is that intergenerational, intercultural dialogue that we need to continue going on. The second one is safe from harm. This is a very powerful program that we have started at world level. I think every NSO, every adult leader has to take the safe from harm, and NSOs need to make sure that they have that policy, they have that procedure, that they have the trainings and the support systems in place to ensure young people are safe and protected at all times. Because a safe place, as a parent, I want my children to be in a safe place. I don't want to put them where I'm not sure if my child would be safe or not. I want to be sure that my child will be safe in this movement. And to make that, we need to have more than just paper and books. We need to have actual processes. The third one is continue doing what we do. Scouting, our program, the Scout method has all the elements you need to create that lasting impact, lasting effect. So let us use the Scout method. The 8 parts that we have within this method can definitely help us take this movement to the next level.
Yes, your story remind me about the image of the yoke with with the yoke with the younger generation always go with the older generation. It make a very big move. Then have only the own generation work together or the younger generation work together, and this is the symbol why we before we go to the wood page camp, that the yoke also that remind us that how we must to collaborate and we must to partner with others, work together to create better things. And before we move on, I would like to invite all attendees who join us by asking more questions. If you have any concern, anything to say, please put it on the Q&A box, and so that we can hear you, we can hear more of your views and can go deeper inside to this topic. Thank you. And so we have a few minutes left. So we all aware and agree that being an adult leader in scouting means you become a role model to young people and peers. So what we can do now as a young adult leaders to become a good role model and have the positive impact to the younger generation in this era. How can we start?
I think just following on what you said, Huey, and what Rhys had mentioned earlier as well, we as leaders, we are not the bosses. And somebody as well put a question, how do we break that barrier of leader as a boss? I think within scouting, and today in modern management, we have it everywhere. We are facilitators. We are not the boss and, I know it best. No, BP said, Lord Baden-Powell said, when you're unsure of what to do, ask the boy, ask the girl, ask the young person, which means you are not really feeding them, spoon feeding them all the activities, all the things, all the program, but you are collaborating. So I think that spirit of collaboration is very important. And we need to realize that as Scout leader, you are more a servant to the child than a boss to the child or to the young person. So servant leadership is very crucial if you want to volunteer as a Scout leader. Rhys?
Yes, totally agree with you, Dr. Davis. And actually, when I saw that question, it brought me back to my management class, which is what I'm currently teaching at the moment. And there's this image that I show my students between the difference of being a leader and being a boss. So in the image with the boss is sitting on the desk, and you see all of the team trying to pull this box that is below the desk that the leader is sitting on. So, well, I'm sorry, the boss is sitting on. So the boss is making the task much more difficult for the team. Now, if you switch over to the next image, we see that the leader is at the front of the line with the team pulling the box. And not only that, but together they were innovative enough to think of putting logs underneath the box to help it roll and move much more easier and be less stressful for the entire team. And so that ties into that servant leadership that you mentioned earlier, Dr. Davis. And this is what I think as leaders in the scouting program, we need to embrace that and understand that we are leaders, yes, but we're also a part of the team. And when our scouts see that, then they're more willing to listen to us, to trust us, and to really have us be those mentors and those role models that they very much need in their lives.
Yes, really great. And yes, Davis.
Sorry, Huey. Somebody was asking about being young. How about young leaders? How can we become role model? I think in our movement, leadership does not start when you become an adult. Leadership starts from Cub Scout. When you are a little young boy or girl, you are a patrol leader, you are a group leader, and that leadership is what really matters. So I think the capacity building is very important, but that leadership is creating. And why do we use the horseshoe formation? That is about equality. That's about sharing of responsibility. That's about working with one another. We don't have a pyramid. The movement is an inverted pyramid where the youth are the top of everything. The young people are, what we stand for, what we work for. And then as you grow into this leadership, you are taking more responsibility and not more authority. That's not about authority. And somebody had asked about the pandemic and how it has become. And I think I'll be very happy to say, as a person who's serving currently in the World Scout Committee as oversight to the education methods work stream, we have a lot of resources. And currently one of the resources we have is the life skills initiative. And these initiatives, they have so many resources that you can use. Our movement, the new website, I'm sure if you have gone in, you will find a lot of resources. Recently, we had a beautiful experience from Scout Association of Mauritius on how they started. They changed the way they were reaching young people, and they created a new style of accessing more young people, encouraging more young people to join the movement. So we have all these resources. They are online on scout.org. You can find them and you can get any resource, any tool to help you, reach more young people and build the capacity. Sorry, I had to say that.
Yes, in the world level, that we have wisdom scout services also that we can use, we can leverage the expert from all over the world to support, to help you. And as individual, you can learn from many material, many from other expert. Visit the scholarship. This is very good, very good resources for everyone, because I saw many model, many great model, an updated model in management model, in coaching model, in well-being model, in educational model, in psychological model here, and you can learn without access to any university. But it is here in scouting, in scholarship. So you can visit the scholarship, or you can leverage the lot of resources to improve, to and attract the young people to participate in the scout activity today as an individual, or in an NSO or the local unit level. And in the bigger view, because I saw many questions in the chat box and the Q&A, that how can we attract more younger generation to attend, and especially to become next generation of the adult leader. So I want to ask Reese, from your point of view, so what is the challenge of this now current young generation, and how can we go further? How can we go further to become a great leader in the future?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And honestly, I will say that for young people, there's a lot of things going on in life. You're going to school, you're trying to start a job, you're dealing with personal things. So it's like, oh, all of this, and then you're trying to be a scout at the same time. And then what about being a leader? So it's trying to find that balance between life and everything else, honestly, at that point and stage. And as adult leaders for different amounts of years, I'm sure that you guys can relate. It's a balancing act at any stage in life. And so we need to make that known to young people and tell them that, okay, this is how I deal with the situation. This is how I work towards creating that balance. Having that as a resource and as a form of support, then they can see how they can best monitor their own schedule. And then earlier, we talked about how leaders are humans. And yes, that is something really important to highlight, and to remember that we have to take care of ourselves. And if you need support, then go out for that. We just mentioned Scoutship, Wisdom Services. These are resources that are available to you all. And if you need to take a break, then take that break, because your well-being and your safety is also important, because we can't have a movement without the support of our adult leaders. And you cannot be fully supporting us if you aren't doing well yourself. So we care about you all. And I think it's also important for us to remember that in leadership, it's also about continuous improvement and how can we become better leaders. Because in life we think, oh, okay, we've done it, we've made it, we've reached this particular mountain or hill, and then we look over the horizon and there's another mountain in the distance that we have to conquer, and that's life for us. But we have what it takes to overcome and to look at those challenges as opportunities. So I invite you all to enjoy this journey as being leaders, because it goes faster than you think. Cherish every single moment, because young people grow up fast. I had Cub Scouts, and now they are in high school and they're all taller than me. And I look at them and I'm so proud of the young leaders that they are today. And I'm so happy that I was a part of their journey to getting to that point. So I also want to encourage you all to celebrate your hard work, because you are making a difference and you are doing so much for this movement.
Yes, and your sharing reminds me from the beginning of our section today about what Dr. Davis said. Before you lead other, everything you need to lead yourself first. And if you are doing great and you lead yourself, you can be successful in everything in your life, not only in Scouting, but also, of course, also in your professional life, in your career, in your personal life. And to recap our today's section, can you both share some your keywords that every leader or attendee here today can bring back to apply for their own development? Yes, Dr. Davis?
Yes, I think Reese has said it beautifully. It is about enjoying every moment, enjoying the journey, and being there for the young people. To me, everything that I do, it is inspired by what the young people are capable of. And if we actually take a step and look at them and learn from them and be open-minded, open-hearted to the learning of these young people, they transform our lives. And there is nothing as joyous as giving joy to others. Lord Baden-Powell said it in one of his messages to all of us. So the best way to enjoy the journey, the best way to enjoy everything that we do is let us do it with that pure heart that the children are capable of carrying that. Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful, wonderful. And Reese, your very last few words?
Yes, I would say let's work together, let's inspire together, and let's make the world a better place together.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. David and Reese, for your very interesting sharing. And thank you everyone for your participation. Before we leave, so this is the gift for you, the challenge code that you can use for your challenge ballet. And our Jota Joti now is come to an end with our very last section, a few sections ago, but yes, it is great journey. This is great Jota Joti this year. We learn a lot from everyone. We learn a lot from a very, very interesting topic like this morning. It's blockchain in Scouting. Wow, so wonderful. And this is really great together to become the bigger community, and we can support other. Thank you so much everyone, and see you around. Enjoy Jota Joti. Goodbye.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Huey. You were a great facilitator.
Thank you.